Hi, everyone. Good morning. So glad to have you on this webinar with us here today. We've got the one and only Stephen Stoltz here with me, our head of services at Beck Technology. Stephen, how are things going at the home office today?
Going great. It's a beautiful day, and just spend a lot of time with family and balancing school and work and all that exciting stuff. So couldn't ask for anything more.
Jack of all trades, love to see it. And Stephen, speaking of that, I wanted to go ahead and start talking about the topic here today. So estimating from home and remote databases. So just wanted to jump right in with, this is a new time, right? We've got a lot of people working from their home office, maybe even for the first time. So one of the things that really comes into play, right, is being able to remotely access databases. Why is that so important to pre-construction teams in particular, just to start off with?
Well, I mean, certainly, the ability to continue doing their job is of the utmost importance, and having tools that kind of that really support that is critical. One of the things that I've thought a lot about, recently is when I started out as an estimator. A gentleman that had an opportunity to visit with, he was close to retirement, and he gave me this little bit of advice, which it's always stuck with me, and I've always found to be humorous, and that's that when he started as an estimator, it was just all working in the office. At the desk, putting out estimates, and one day they came to him and said, "Hey, we've got this large pursuit. We need you to be at the project presentation. So, Friday, wear your best suit and be ready to go." So he said he went home, got his only suit, put it on, showed up at the office, and they said, "This is your best suit?" And he said, "Yeah, this is my best suit." And they said, "No, we got to get you another suit." So they ran out and bought him another suit. And he said from then on, every time they invited him to these project pursuits, he'd wear that old suit, so somebody'd run out and buy him a new suit. And I guess the thing that I tell that story because it in many respects kind of talks about the evolution of really the role of an estimator or pre-construction professional. The behind the desk, to out in front, to visiting with clients, using paper, to now actually having technology open and utilizing it. It's really, illustrates the need for the traveling tool for the estimator, for the pre-con professional. And so it's just critical and vital that the tools just are able to go along with those individuals. So that's, again, it's very important. It's important to have the tools that are set up to lend themselves to the way that estimators operate today.
Yeah, that's so true. I think that's true even across other industries, but like to your point, especially within the pre-construction world, the ability to just be able to pull up an estimate, pull up information wherever you're at, so vital, today, but also like if you're, trying to get a project win, that type of thing. So wanted to also kind of, follow up on that. What's been our clients' experience connecting to estimator during this time? I mean, have you had more support tickets coming in than usual because of people accessing it from home? Can you talk a little bit to that?
Yeah, really, in visiting with a lot of our clients, we've got a lot that are certainly working from home, remote environments. A few that are still able to work in the office. But I think fundamentally what they've kind of told us is that in many respects there's it's not much different than when they're in the office. These are really environments and a lot of times they're accustomed to working with. Now that's not to say everyone. We've come across visiting with a couple where they still operate on desktops, and moving that desktop and monitor set to home has been a challenge. So you do hear about some of those challenges of they have multiple monitors at the office and bringing those home. But really, in terms of working within teams, within groups, we've got a variety of formats that support that with an estimator. Our file-based versions that allow users to just access files, pass those around. We've got our team estimating versions that allow individuals to all join an estimate, and that is stored in the database. So these are really environments that they're working in, in the office, and now they're just doing it at home. A lot of our clients are used to having estimators from different offices all participating in estimates. And kind of sharing those resources. So they're continuing to do that and continuing to really kind of press forward. Every now and then you see, some questions come in on, internet stability at home, those kinds of things, and kind of working through individuals with those. But really, as a whole, we have really tried to design Estimator as a tool that travels, that supports the needs of clients. We hear regularly when we're visiting with prospects, with clients, about, hey, it is critically important that I'm able to work on my estimate while I'm on the train, commuting. While we heard one the other day of, hey, come fall, I need to be able to work on my estimate in the deer blind kind of thing. And so we've really tried to introduce functionality and create a product that supports that. So certainly, it's our hope and observation that our clients are able to work as they normally are, and that while the scenery might change, their tool set certainly adapts to that.
That's great. That's really great to hear. I mean, definitely critical to be able to access Estimator from a deer blind. Cannot miss out on hunting season.
Not in some parts, that's for sure.
Right. And it's interesting that you say that like nothing has changed too significantly for those who are working from home. Along those lines, have you heard of any like unique challenges that estimators are encountering for those that are working from a home office, or is it kind of a similar situation to where it's mainly the same challenges they would encounter in the office?
Now, that's a great question, and certainly as we've reached out and kind of spoken to a lot of our users just to check in and see how they're doing. It's certainly not all roses and sunshine. It's I mentioned a lot of them are accustomed to working with multiple monitors, and that's just not a setup they have at home. The ability to look at data, in multiple ways at the same time. And then you've just got the human elements. You've got, individuals with kids at home, and they're working on math projects and, or English papers with their children while also. So you've got, those things going on. You've got, significant others at the house too, and they've got their jobs. I heard one the other day, a junior estimator that I was visiting with that had a studio apartment, and he said, hey, I don't have a desk in my apartment. He said, I spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day, with a laptop on my lap on the sofa. And he said, you want to talk about long days? Like, I mean, that's that's a tough way of getting your work done. So, yeah, so it's you have a lot of those challenges, and certainly just I mean, just with everything currently going on in the world, you've got a lot of those other distractions too. I call them distractions, certainly much more than that, but those are things that are on people's mind, and
right.
So it's a lot of those things do present challenges, and so those are things that our users are working through.
Right. Well, that's good to hear, and that's so true about adjusting to different environments. I know even for myself, I'm staying with my family at the moment, and I've got my dad is on calls with his clients, and having to make sure that we're not overlapping. So I can definitely relate to some of that, as I'm sure a lot of us can.
No doubt.
Again, kind of touching on that point, uh, what are like some creative ways, I guess, that estimators who are having to work from that home office to work around that? You know, like you said, you've got situations where people don't have a desk, where people, you know, are maybe sharing a studio with a significant other, with kids. I mean, what are some of your suggestions, even from your own experience right now?
Yeah, certainly. You know, I know some of our folks at Beck Tech have published a lot of work from home suggestions, and those are, you know, that's some good content out there that I followed and applied. I heard about one group that you know was had a large bid coming up and needed to get kind of everyone together for a bid day. And they weren't allowed to go and be in the office. So with hotel rooms being very low priced right now, they rented out a few hotel rooms for the day and used them as an office, you know, in the suburbs to kind of get together as a team, but maintain their distance. So that was something interesting, you know, kind of creative to make sure that they were all comfortable getting the job done. I think certainly, you know, I mean, it's certainly just taking this opportunity to you know to really you know spend time with you know with family, you know, not being on the road as much. For me personally, it's hey, let's get as much of that time in as we can, because you know there's going to be a time here shortly where I'll be sitting in the airport wishing I was at home with the family. So so I think it's you know, so that's for me personally. You know, we have a resilient user base that you know is really you know they're constantly, you know, forward thinking. How do we continue to get the job done? And you know they always find ways. So so yeah, it's I'm always excited to hear about the various ways they're making things work in their world. I did see one the other day, one of our clients that had built a standing desk out on the back patio. Some of those setups and arrangements are always fascinating to me. That you know they're not just estimators, but they're builders. And you know it's I don't know. Sometimes I get a little jealous of those because they're pretty sweet setups.
Oh yeah, so true. I mean, that's one way to be innovative, right? Like that is incredible.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think that's so true what you said about we have such a resilient user base. We have people that are truly very, very innovative and creative people. You know, have been hearing from some clients who just underwent implementation of our software, and it's amazing to see how they are dedicated to still pursuing you know, innovation and new ideas even during this time. And so have you encountered any like unique challenges onboarding clients to the software, implementing the software, you know, as we're going through this interesting time?
Certainly, it's required a change for both us and for our you know for our clients and customers. We've certainly gravitated a lot towards you know web training and a lot of those things, and certainly hearing the same from our clients. You know, they are continuing in a lot of instances to bring people on board, and so a lot of the conversations that were occurring face to face are now taking place over the web. Trainings, you know, a lot of that content's being migrated to the web to allow people to onboard. And certainly, while you know this you know we'd rather this occur under different circumstances, it is nice to see some of these things that you know that we can probably start reusing in the future. You know, really have the opportunity to work on those things right now, just not just as our organization, but collectively as the industry.
And can you talk to like a few of those things that maybe you see becoming more universal once this is, you know, hopefully all over and we're kind of more or less back to more of a normal working environment?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we're working on is migrating a lot of our training content to the web to allow users, customers to really take that kind of training on demand. I think beyond that, for a lot of a lot of organizations that were very focused on having people in the office, and were really kind of the need for that and creating infrastructures around that. I certainly don't think that will go away, but I think that a lot of the things that are being put in place to support having people working remotely are things that those organizations will benefit from long term, whether that's, again, really taking their tools, outside of the office, and really, having supportive environments to have collaborative conversations with project teams, and getting those tools out to the project site so they can, meaningfully impact those. So I think really just a lot of these things are certainly not just one-time uses, but really things that a lot of organizations will be able to continue to benefit from. And certainly there's a lot of organizations that were already set up for these types of remote situations, and so for them it's business as usual. I think for a lot of the others, they're very resilient and focused on making it happen, and I think they'll continue to reap the benefits from that for the coming years and into the future.
Yeah, that's very true. You have those companies out there who maybe they haven't really done the remote work thing before, and now they are out of necessity, and they're seeing the benefits of that. They're seeing the good results of that. So this is definitely a really speculative question. I don't think we're there yet, but with all of this happening, with the way work has changed so quickly, do you foresee, like, maybe within the next 5 or 10 years, do you see estimating being like almost a wholly virtual thing in a lot of ways, a virtual activity?
Boy, that's a great question. And, I think some of it is just, a lot of it's organization and culture dependent. I do think that, this probably, maybe puts a spark in people's mind to say, hey, as we do seek, to hire estimators, perhaps some would be willing to look beyond, beyond their geography and say, hey, there are talented estimators, beyond, and looking at having, them work remotely. There's always, I mean, I say always, the need to have those individuals working together, and a lot of the training and teaching and collaboration and staying sharp, a lot of those things that come that just naturally occur when you're in the same environment. So I don't envision a scenario where the whole estimating world goes remote, but I'd like to think that there are some opportunities for organizations to bring on people that perhaps they normally wouldn't have looked at, that are some incredibly talented individuals that that will benefit the organization, but might do it from afar. And so that'll really, it's going to be exciting to see how this changes the environment, and how people really kind of adopt a new normal moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. I think you make a really excellent point about being able to attract and hire talent that maybe before would have not even been an option, because that's so often a barrier, right? Just physical distance. And when you've got things like Zoom and GoToMeeting and all these other remote tools, then it really cuts down on that barrier, and it opens up a whole lot of other options. Stephen, we are about out of time. Was there anything else that you'd like to share or leave us with as we wrap up here?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you all for joining. I hope you are all doing well, and certainly able to find some bright spots in this time. And certainly, if you're ever stuck at home and need someone to chat it up with, feel free to reach out to me or any of the other team members at Beck Tech. We're trying to reach out to everyone and see how you're doing, and please feel free to reach out to us, and we'd love to chat with you and help you in any way we can. So look forward to visiting with you all. And if you've got any interesting stories to tell on how you all are working in this environment, I'd love to hear them. So I'm just really exciting to see, how how you all are really adapting to the current environment. So.
Yes, definitely want to echo what Stephen said. Just that we would absolutely love to hear those stories, especially just any stories that you have of working remotely, your experience as an estimator, working from a home office. We're always looking for new content to share with everyone, just as to be a resource. So definitely reach out, and want to let everyone know to be on the lookout for an invitation for our next webinar, which will be May the 6th, Wednesday. Will also be again at 10 a.m. CST. And just a quick shout out to Gary. We will try to send some warm weather your way. Might be a little difficult because actually it's a little rainy here too. So but with that, thank you everyone for being here. Just again, really appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Thank you, Stephen, and have a good day.
Yeah, thanks. Take care.